Okay, hi third grade. We have been talking about the artist Wayne Thiebaud. So hopefully you've gone on Padlet, you watched some of the videos that I shared with him. We met together as a class and we went over how to make a cupcake, even though it's flat on a surface, how to make it look rounded and three-dimensional. And so I have been seeing some of you sharing. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you could do that. So I am sending home another piece of paper with you. And the great thing is now that you have oil pastels, we can continue exploring and experimenting with those. They're great when we talk about tints and shades, lights and darks of a color. They're great for blending. And I'm gonna stay with that tasty dessert theme since we have been working on our cupcake. So knowing that our weather is getting nicer, according to my family, there's never a bad time for an ice cream cone. We're gonna go ahead and focus on a series. And when I say a series, we're gonna be thinking about 1, 2, 3 ice cream cones in a Wayne Thiebaud style. All right, and so once again, I want to think about how can I make that ice cream cone look a little more realistic? How can I make it have some depth and dimension instead of just being flat? And the very simplest way to do that is by once again not making a straight line for my cone, but that gentle smile. So hopefully you can see this. Remember, I'm holding my pencil at the end. Okay, we talked about that. So when you sketch, it's not too dark. And I'm gonna think of like a sugar cone or a waffle cone for this. Okay, so there's one. I'm gonna make 3 of them in a row. So when you look at Wayne Thiebaud's artwork, he would do a series. He would repeat desserts over and over. He actually does have a painting that I will share of ice cream cones. And a fun little fact about me is a couple summers ago, I participated in a chalk fest in Lockport, and I did a Wayne Thiebaud chalk piece for my inspiration. So it was like 8 feet by 10 feet. I'll see if I can find a picture of it to share it with you. All right, so I have my cones, so you can see that gentle little smile. It's not perfectly straight across. That's gonna give it that realistic look. To go even a step further is usually on an ice cream cone, there's a texture. It has a feel to it. The waffle, like when they press it with the iron, it gives it that texture. So instead of going and just making lines straight, if I gently curve them, notice I'm not going too aggressive. I'm not making them like big U shapes. They're just gentle. And then I go the other way. Okay, it gives it that look of being more of a cylinder. Now I'm just being very light with my pencil because I know I'm going over this with oil pastel. And once I go in with oil pastel, that's when a lot of the magic will happen as far as adding more of that dimension and depth to it. Okay, so I have my 3 ice cream cones. I tried putting them in a similar line. Same thing with the bottoms. If they're not exact, it's okay. If you are someone that wants to be exact, you could get a ruler and just make sure they're all lined up. But I'm pretty happy with this. So when you go and start doing your ice cream, I want you to think about how a scoop, all right, I'm gonna flip this over. Okay, so once again, see if I do this, it just looks like a triangle. But by gently rounding it, it's giving it that cone look. The other thing is if I just go and put a big scoop, it's going to lose a little of that realness to it. But if I make it more of an organic shape, all right, it has a very different look to it. It has that more realistic look that we're going for. So I'm going to come in here. And there's my first scoop. Now I'm gonna go on this one. I'm gonna make a scoop on here. You could even go a step further and think about maybe making a cherry. I think these 2 outer ones, I'll have just 1 scoop. Here's my 3rd. Now if I don't like something, maybe I'm like, oh, I wanna make this a little bigger. The nice thing is I drew nice and lightly. Okay, so I have my 3 scoops of ice cream. So now this week, what I would love for you to do is I want you to work on the ice cream cone portion, and if that's all you get done, then that's fine. I am going to suggest 4 colors. from your oil pastels. I'm going to suggest that peach. This is going to be a great color, especially when we're talking about baked goods and treats, okay? Especially when you talk about chocolate, vanilla, caramel, different things like that. The sugar cone. There is this, I don't know if they have colors on it, but it's kind of a goldish color. That's going to be useful. A little bit of brown for those darker areas, and then white for those lighters, those highlights. So when you go in, this is where I want you to explore the use of your oil pastels. Okay, so I have my peach started. Now I'm going to come in here and start coloring with my peach. That's going to be what I call my base color. So when you think about a house being built, there's a foundation to make sure the house doesn't sink or fall over. So think of your color being your foundation, your base of your drawing, and when you add color. So I'm going to keep working in here. All right, now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add a little bit of brown, and I like going over those pencil lines. And whenever you do blending, I want to encourage you to always go with the motion of your drawing. Okay, I'm not just going to go scribble randomly. Really go nice and slow. I can come in here. You can always build the color. So maybe I want some more brown in areas. I can also think about doing some shading. So one part of my cone will be a little bit darker. So I'm just going to go in and keep adding some of that color. All right, so you can really see all of a sudden it's taking on a little bit of a shape. I could also come in with some white later on. Think about some of those highlights. All right, so today, as you're working, just focus on one portion. And since you're doing 3 cones, the more you do, the more comfortable you might become. So I'm going to continue working on this. As far as the ice cream, if you want to move on, that's fine. I don't want you to feel like you have to rush through this. I really want you to enjoy the process. If you get a little oil pastel on here like I have, just like our cupcake, later on we will create a like a foreground, like a countertop or something, and then we'll do the background, so don't worry about that. All right, so I will continue work along with me, have some fun designing, brainstorm, sketch, think about different flavors of ice cream, maybe your favorites, if it's strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, peanut butter swirl, okay, anything, mint tingling, all those yummy flavors. Go ahead and think about them, even if you're like, ooh, I like lemon ice. That's a fun one too. All right, happy creating and enjoy the process of creating, friends. All right, have a great day.